welcome everyone. We really appreciate you joining in on us. We are the Village's natives. I am Everett.
And I'm April.
And thanks so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
And before we begin, we just want to give a special thank you to all of you that have watched. And
yes, and subscribed. Thank you so much.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
We are overwhelmed.
Yes.
I think, wouldn't you
we
say
are.
we're overwhelmed?
We are.
But
yes.
It was really surprising.
Yes. And all of the comments.
All the comments,
yes.
many comments,
Lots.
dozens. We've had now, this is shocking, over 11,000 views total in our few videos. And
right.
It's wonderful. And 179 subscribers.
Right.
So that is tremendous.
Right.
I think about 1,200 watch hours. So,
not that he's counting.
Not that we're counting. Anyway, but no, we really, honestly, thank you so much. And thanks for joining us,
yes.
you know, really on our journey like we talk about.
Right.
Because that's what it is all about. So today we're going to talk about really something that's essential when it's about coming to the villages, and really about our process. And here again, this is ours.
Right. Everybody's different, and yours is going to be different than ours.
Mm-hmm. But maybe you can, some of this will help you.
Right.
But it's about choosing a house in the villages. And now the focus for this video, and probably at least one more, is going to be on the house.
Yeah.
Okay. And then later we'll talk about, you know, how do you choose a village, an area,
right.
because there's a bunch.
Yeah. And it only keeps growing.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It keeps growing and growing and growing. So, and they've just recently mentioned a new area down south,
right.
where they're going to be building next after the village of Dabney.
Right.
So that's going to be the village of Moultrie Creek and Shady Brook.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to go swimming in Shady Brook over near Coleman. You've been over there?
Oh yeah, I've been through there many times, and I remember when we first were married and we would go down to your mom and dad's house down at Terrytown.
Yes.
And you would point out the area where y'all used to go swimming, but we had never been as kids swimming over in that area before.
Okay.
But I do remember the area.
Yeah, yeah. We used to go with our buddies.
Yeah.
Swinging.
But it's been...
And swimming and swinging off the tree.
The mid-'80s.
Yeah, late 70s,
It's been a long time
early
ago
80s,
since we've been through that area.
Long time. So, okay, so enough reminiscing there.
Yeah.
But thank you. Now we're going to talk about, here again, choosing a house. And a lot of people talk about a needle in the haystack. Does it feel that way to you,
Yes.
finding that needle?
It does. Because there's so many different floor plans. And the villages tend to name them by birds and flowers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the prior names were, but
There's
the
been
newer
so
ones are a
many.
lot of birds and flowers.
Yes.
So there's tons of floor plans.
Yeah, there are. And we're going to go over a few stats. How's that sound?
Yes.
To give you kind of an idea, if you're uncertain, you might think, how am I going to find our house? Well, here are a few stats. There are 6 different home series, or different types of homes that the villages that they produce, or that models that they have. Okay, types of models.
Right.
And they are the patio villas, the courtyard villas, the cottage homes,
Yes.
The verandas, the designer homes, and the premier homes. So these are the types, they call them series, right?
Right.
And we've got a little bit of familiarity with some of them, don't we?
Right.
So in the, and so there are 6 types of home series, and how many do you think, I think I told you, but how many total models out of all those 6 series? Did I tell you? I'll let you cheat. Look.
Oh, 100. I was going to say over 100.
100?
100.
Yeah, I counted them. It didn't take real long, but
yeah.
yeah, 100 models, different models. So there's a lot to choose from, and some they produce more of, some less.
Right.
But so we have now probably our first experience was in a patio villa, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. My sister and her husband owned a patio villa, and they spoiled us because for years we used to just say, "Hey, is it empty? Can we go spend some time so we can go visit family?" Because of being in the military, we're like, we got 2 weeks in between this time frame. So we were very spoiled to being able to go and be at the villages through the years. Everett deployed, went to Iraq. Me and Lindsay came and spent some time at their patio villa at the villages, and it was home, and in and out of there for just for years. And so they blessed us being able to be there.
They did.
So we are very familiar with those.
Yeah, with those patio villas.
Yes.
And theirs was north of 466.
Yes.
Not far from Spanish Springs.
Right.
So real nice area. And those patio villas are the kind of the smaller homes that they build now.
Right.
And they no longer own your sister and her husband no longer own it.
They sold it.
Yes.
And
but that was several years ago. So, and we also stayed in a smaller designer home a couple of years ago.
right,
in
when
the
you
summer.
retired from the Army, and we were in transition coming out here to Fort Walton Beach. So we stayed there for 2.5 months, and we loved it. So
Yeah,
that was fun.
I liked it. I think it was Alamanda.
Oh, was that the?
Alamanda was and I think that's still available.
Okay.
There are a lot.
We did like the floor
pre-owned.
plan.
Yeah,
It was a little small.
a little smaller.
A little smaller than what we
Mhm.
need,
Mhm.
but I think it was around 1,600 square foot, 1,600 square foot.
Right around there.
Yeah.
So, so you've got these different types of homes. We generally gravitate to something a little larger, and we'll talk a little more about these and kind of the verandas and the designer homes. They're a little bit larger,
Right.
and really thinking about these types of homes. In the series, how they differentiate them mostly are with square footage and price, and kind of location, right?
Right.
And as you go from patio villa all the way up to premier homes, the square footage goes up, the price goes up,
Right.
and where they place them also goes up. I think they're getting ready to build some new premier homes over near Dabney.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they've built any of those in a while, but from what I've heard,
Right.
it looks like they're building some over there. So yeah, those are kind of the series, and really anything starting from new in the low 300s on up as much as you want to spend, probably.
Oh, yeah.
With probably a few million.
Yeah.
And we did get some stats. So I did record a few stats on what is available, because you might think, wow, how many homes are for sale?
Right.
So this is a number of homes that are actually available right now, that aren't pending, that are on the market as of the 12th of August, 2023. So can you read my writing? I don't know if you can read that. It's the
381.
Yeah, that is the number of pre-owned homes
Pre-owned.
on the Villages listing service. There were 381
Right.
available. And the new ones on the Villages listing service
281.
281. Yeah. So a good amount there. And on the MLS, or the multiple listing service, I think it's called, where the regular brokers place their homes, there were 310.
Right, and those are all pre-owned.
Well, except for the new ones. Yeah, well, the ones on the MLS.
For the MLS,
yes,
they're all pre-owned.
Thank you. Very good. So the total right now, there are 600 and the total pre-owned are 690, okay? And the total homes are what?
971.
That's a lot of houses, isn't it?
That's a lot of houses.
That's a lot. I was surprised
Yeah.
when I really totaled them up, because you can kind of get lost in the weeds.
Right.
But the Village is a big place, growing place. The stats are a lot of houses available. And and how do you begin to sort through them? Probably the biggest method to sort through them is to look at if you want a pre-owned or a new home.
Right.
And so what's that process been like for us?
For us, it's been, as far as new, it's been where are the new houses located versus where do we want to live? Where do we find our home base close to where our family is? Because we have family that's a little more north from there. So, so that's been a process for us. But that's just because we have family local. So,
and I think on the pre-owned,
and so for pre-owned, it's been kind of getting it just north of 44 and just south of 44.
We do want pre-owns that are newer, and that's an important for us, because we want as new a home as we can get, because of things.
And to be in the area we want.
Yes.
Yes.
To be in the area that we want, and to get as newer a home.
Right.
With the new styling and less wear and tear on the home.
Yes.
So I think it's important. So pre-owned, a newer pre-owned, probably for us, is really important. Now another big factor is whether you want a concrete block or vinyl sided home, isn't it?
Yes. That is big.
And I think the vinyl sided homes tend to be, I think Daniel told us they're about $30,000 to $40,000 cheaper for a comparable floor plan.
They are a little cheaper on the vinyl siding. Some people don't have a preference.
I think for me, you know, we're kind of sorting out how do we make that decision on concrete block or siding.
Before we didn't have a preference, and I think now we've come to a preference that we would rather have a concrete block versus a vinyl.
Excuse me, concrete block and stucco.
During the summer when we were with Daniel and Dave, we really didn't have a preference.
No.
At that time.
At that time we didn't. That was 2 years ago.
Yes.
When we were looking. And really looking at concrete block, stucco versus vinyl siding, the three things that I want to mention that I think are helpful. One is appearance. They have a different appearance from for the house. Number two, maintenance. And number three, durability. So what do you think on appearance for difference between vinyl sided and concrete block? What do you think for you?
Well, on vinyl siding, you don't have to repaint it.
That's true.
And on concrete...
That goes to maintenance, but go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
But on concrete block, you have to paint that every 6 to 8 years.
Probably.
Maybe even 5 to 8 years, because it's Florida, the heat is very damaging. So, you know, there's some upkeep there. So there's maintenance there. Appearance, I don't know. I'm not sure, but I like the concrete block appearance.
Stucco.
Just personally. Versus the siding. But that was just something I came to that I just had a preference with after seeing lots of houses.
Sure, sure.
So.
And I think, me as well, I think it's a more handsome house with the concrete block and stucco.
But nothing against vinyl siding whatsoever.
No.
Because we've
No.
looked at some that we are very interested in.
In the newer areas, they've got they're using different textures, different colors, which are more appealing from the road.
Yes, and
So-
are actually, even though they're like a vinyl siding, they're different and they're actually really nice.
There's some of them look really good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so for
those
appearance, some of them.
I don't know, some of those I really like though.
Yeah, so some of those are really good.
Right.
Maintenance, as you mentioned, the concrete block, stucco, and now the precast concrete
Right.
walls, you will have to repaint those.
Right.
Okay. And both of them, you're going to have to get power washed or
Power wash, yes. Even the
washed
vinyl siding,
regularly.
Yes.
And so you're going to have to make sure of that. I will say that for me, if you don't wash it, the vinyl siding tends to look worse sooner.
It does.
Does that make sense?
It does. And
Yeah. You got to keep up with that.
I believe we watched a video on somebody who had a vinyl siding, and they tend to have it pressure washed twice a year.
Twice a year.
Just because the bugs, the weather, and just
Humidity.
the humidity, it can look nasty pretty fast when it's really nothing but just dirty.
Yeah.
So
you definitely
you
need
definitely
to keep up.
have to get it pressure washed. Yes.
Yeah, good point. But here again, when they're pressure washed, they look really good.
Oh, they look nice.
They look really good.
Yeah.
And both look good.
Yes.
We just have a preference. And I
Right.
think durability, the last one, I think a concrete block home is just going to be more durable. If you have high winds, it's just going to be more sturdy. So I think that's just going to be. Now, Florida has very good building codes on frame-built homes. So,
and they have to because of all of the hurricanes that come through there. They really, and not necessarily through the villages, but through Florida, just in general. There are a lot of.
There's a lot of. They're well built.
Yeah.
They're very well built, even if it's a frame home.
Right.
Okay. So those are a few of the big things, kind of pre-owned or new, concrete block, kind of some big decisions points for us. Okay, those are what we believe are the main things you need to know in purchasing a house in the villages. Here again, choosing that house.
Right.
And so I think you really need to understand those things. That will help you begin to narrow it down. Our next video is going to be about our must-haves.
Yes.
Yes. So we think we need to kind of end it here. But our next video is going to be about our must-haves, and that'll be part 2. But please remember to like and subscribe if you like the video. And thanks for joining us on this one and all the others. And thank you for joining us
On our journey home.
We'll see you soon. Bye.